Chapter 14. We have seen in chapter 12 the beginning with the man-child and the woman and the dragon. Chapter 13 we see the coming of the Antichrist and this other beast along with him, that is the false prophet. We will see that later on in the book. And now we are headed for chapter 14. I will start reading from verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the mount Sion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. We have one description, that is a lamb, Jesus, is standing on the Mount Sion, and with him 144,000. And they say about these 144,000, they say that they have his father's name written on their foreheads. Whose father's name? Jesus, the lamb's father's name. So where do we see this? We see this at the beginning of the book of Revelation, where Jesus says that the overcomer will have his father's name on their foreheads, written on them. And we continue. And I heard a voice from heaven, John says, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders. And no one could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Not from the tribulation, from the earth. These are they which were not defiled by women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. And these were redeemed from among men, being first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. I believe these first fruits, they are taken up first. They are the overcomers. Why do I believe that? In their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. That is also a clue. They are overcomers. They are not defiled with women, that is with false religions, with fornication, they are pure. That is not meant literally, I believe. They are virgins. They are not defiled. You have in Matthew 25 5 female virgins. Also all 10 are virgins. They belong to God. They do not worship other false gods. They are not defiled. And you have wise one and foolish ones, but they are all virgins. They do not worship any other god. And you have that they follow the Lamb wherever he goes. This Lamb, Jesus, they follow everywhere he goes. They do his will. They obey Jesus. And they follow him. And they were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. Thus they are the overcomers who are taken out of the earth before the tribulation starts. They are the first fruits. In another passage Jesus uses for the same group, the parable of the virgins. We have in chapter 12 the man child mentioned. He is taken up before the tribulation starts, before the dragon is cast down and persecutes the woman, persecutes Christians and Jews. He is cast down. So these all are the same group. It's the same. These are the overcomers. So it is a glorious group. I pray to be part of that group. We have to overcome. We have to overcome our flesh, overcome the world, overcome the devil. Very important. And they were without fault before God. Not because of their own doing, no, because they were totally one with God. And Jesus, when God sees them, God sees Jesus. They are so one with God, and they learned to die to self. So here you have this group with Jesus at the Mount Sion. That brings you to the middle of the tribulation. Jesus comes back and sets his foot on the Mount Sion, and I believe these 144,000 will help Jesus with the harvest of the multitude no one could count. And then it continues, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of water. So you have this angel with the everlasting gospel. We are in the middle of the tribulation, and Jesus says, the gospel shall be preached until the ends of the earth, and then the end will come. And I believe he refers to this. We are doing a great deal preaching, but I believe the end time preaching Jesus refers to is this angel. I don't know how it will manifest itself, but he is coming and crying in the heavens, and proclaiming with a loud voice, Fear God and worship him. And he has the everlasting gospel to preach. He will preach it. I believe that is what Jesus is referring with preaching of the gospel, and then the end comes. And he's saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give him glory, for the hour of his judgment is come. He is proclaiming and saying the judgment of God is coming. And what judgments does he refer to? I believe the three woes. You have, of course, all seven trumpets, all seven vials, all seven seals are his judgment. But the real wrath of God is reserved when the saints are taken up. Thus, when they are taken up at the middle of the great tribulation, thus at the middle, you have the real wrath of God reserved. That is the second half of the tribulation. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Another proclamation. The judgment on Babylon is coming. It is coming. It is here. And another, third angel followed them, and said with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead, of his hand, or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire, with brimstone, and the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. And there is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and faith of Jesus. There you have it again. In the midst of all these things, people worshiping this beast, we have and we will keep God's commandments. We have to. And those who are His, who are God's, will. And Lord help us. Lord help us. So you have all these proclamations. The everlasting gospel is preached. You have another angel saying judgment is coming, and you have another angel saying Babylon is falling, and then another saying who worship the beast will be tormented. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, that's Jesus, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. The multitude no one could count. We are in the middle of the tribulation. Jesus came with the 144,000. The gospel is preached. All these proclamations are being made. All these warnings of judgment that are coming are being proclaimed. And Jesus reaps. He thrusts his sickle and he reaps. The multitude no one could count. That is that woman who was being held in safety, and others that came to faith. So he that sat on the cloud thrust his sickle, and the earth was reaped, the main harvest. You had before that, you had the first fruits, and then you have the main harvest. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had a sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. I have read somewhere that the olive and the grapes go together. Those are two harvests which go together, and I believe the olive are the dead in Christ, and the grapes are the remnant, the very last few elect. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city, without the city, and blood came out of the winepress even unto the horse bridles, by space of 1,600 furlongs. That is Armageddon. We can read that in the prophets. We will continue in the next chapters. Thank you for watching.